Hi guys, I'm Lindsay Strand, and today on Sweet Talk I'm making a really special dessert. This is peach chiffon pie. This chilly, no-bake dessert is packed with sweet peach flavor. I know it's going to be a huge hit at all of your summer parties. I'm going to start with the Gingersnap Crust. So this is basically like making a graham cracker crust, except instead of graham crackers, they're Gingersnap cookies. So these you can just buy in a box at the store. This is 6 ounces of Gingersnap cookies, and I'm going to pulse this until it's fine crumbs. So next I'm adding half a teaspoon of salt, and then half a stick of butter. This is 4 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. Pulse this again until it's the texture of wet sand. All right, this looks good. Now I'm just gonna scoop it into a 9-inch pie plate. Everything out of here. Now I'm just going to kind of evenly spread this around my pie plate. And then once it's spread out, I like to press the crumbs in with a small measuring cup. This helps get them really packed in. The ginger snaps work really well in this pie because peaches are so nice and sweet, and the ginger snap helps provide a little bit of a contrast to that flavor with the spiciness. The filling is also really creamy and luscious, so it's nice to have a bit of a crunchy crust. All right, so now the sides are nice and firm. I'll just pack the bottom in, make sure that we get nice, clean slices out of our pie. That looks good. So as I mentioned, this is a no-bake pie, so this is going into the freezer for 30 minutes until it's firm. While the crust chills, I'm gonna get started on my peach mixture. So I have 2 pounds of fresh peaches here. It smells so good. And I'm just cutting these into large chunks, about 1 inch in size. These are not Freestone peaches, so what I like to do is cut around the pit like this. You can even cut that little bit at the end if you're worried about waste. Sometimes I nibble on this, it's like the chef's treat. And then you don't have to worry about trying to wrangle that pit out of the peach. So just giving these a rough chop. And again, this is 2 pounds of peaches. It's about 5 or 6. You can use frozen. If you use frozen, you want to use 20 ounces because they're a little bit juicier. But it is peach season, so I'm absolutely using fresh because that is the best. And to that, I'm adding half a cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, which is about 1 lemon. It's really nice to add some citrus when you're cooking with sweet fruit like peaches because it helps balance that sweetness. So you could use lime here too, but I think lemon's really nice. 3/4 teaspoon of salt, 2, 3, and finally 3/4 cup of water. This will help get the juices releasing, help it boil down into a nice, juicy mixture. So I'm gonna get this started over high heat just until it boils. I'm gonna give it a stir, make sure that the sugar doesn't burn, although the water should help protect it from that. And then while that's getting going, I'm gonna sprinkle 1 tablespoon of gelatin over half a cup of water. This comes from 2 packets of gelatin. And I'm just gonna let this sit until it's softened, it's kind of saturated, it's not grainy anymore, and this is gonna be going into our peach mixture. This looks like it is just about at a boil, so you give it another minute. And I'm going to add a basil sprig. Basil is one of the few things I can actually grow in my tiny New York apartment. And this gives just a nice little hit of herbaceous flavor that goes so well with the peaches. So we'll throw that in. And now that it's just coming to a boil, I'm going to cover it and cook this for 15 minutes, turn the heat down to medium-low, and that's gonna reduce down. The peaches are gonna fall apart, release all of their juices, and that will be our mixture. So this has been simmering away for 15 minutes. Oh my gosh, look at that. It smells so good. That smells like summer. It is so nice. You can see it has that pretty peachy color. The peaches are nice and soft. And now I'm gonna press the mixture through this strainer. It's gonna make a puree. So I'm gonna start with maybe half of it so it's a little bit easier to do. See our little basil sprig in there? I'll leave half of it in the pan. This takes a little bit of muscle, but I'm just pushing this through a fine mesh sieve. These are really soft. You're gonna have a little bit of pulp in the bottom of your sieve at the end, that's okay. All right, I think I'm about ready for my second half. Make sure to scrape the bottom. A lot of good stuff gets stuck down there. And do the second half here. All the juice out of the bottom of the pan. Really pretty. So you guys might know Sarah Carey on the Everyday Food channel, but peaches are one of her absolute favorite foods. And so I think I'm gonna have to go give her a slice of this pie when I'm done making it, because I think this is right up her alley. All right, that looks about good. I think I'm just gonna make sure I get all of the stuff off the bottom. And now while this is warm, I'm going to stir in the saturated gelatin. So you can see it got really thick and all of the powder absorbed into the water. And I'm just gonna stir this in until the gelatin dissolves. It should get kind of shiny. It happens pretty quickly, but you wanna make sure that you don't have any big globs of gelatin. All right, looks like this guy is slowly melting away. I can feel it getting really slick, kind of slippery under the spatula. And this is going to help stabilize the pie. So really it's this gelatin mixture and whipped cream that make the filling. So now that that is dissolved, I'm going to put this into the refrigerator for an hour until it's chilled. You can also ice bath it if you're in a bit of a hurry, but I'm gonna just set this in the fridge because it makes it super easy. So in it goes for an hour. My peach mixture is nice and cooled. It's been hanging out in the fridge, and now I'm just going to make whipped cream to lighten it a little bit. So this is 1 1/4 cups heavy cream, 1/4 cup of granulated sugar, and 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Vanilla, peaches, so nice. And now you guys know how this works. You just get this going on medium-high speed until soft peaks form. I usually like to start it a little bit slower so that, one, it's not spraying everywhere, but it also helps make a smaller bubble in the cream mixture, and then it's a little bit more stable. So once it's nice and frothy, that's when I start increasing the speed. That should only take a couple of minutes. So this looks like soft peaks to me. If you've gone too far, you can always stir in a little bit of heavy cream and just fold it together to loosen it up. I think this is pretty good. You don't want it to be too stiff, otherwise it's gonna be kind of chunky when you fold it in. So let's see. Yeah, this looks nice. Very soft, but it has enough lift that it will add volume. All right, so now I'm going to fold the cream in to my peach mixture. I'm just gonna do a little bit to start, kind of loosen it up. I don't wanna lose all the volume in it, but this one you can kind of stir in more than fold in because you want to incorporate it completely. You will notice the color is starting to lighten up a little bit. All right, so now that that's incorporated, I'm going to fold in the rest of the whipped cream. So give this a nice fold. I like to go cut through the middle and then fold around the edge. And usually you want to use kind of a bigger size spatula for this. Don't use your little tiny one, otherwise you're going to have to stir it too much and you'll deflate the mixture. So you can see it's got some body, it's looking nice and creamy. I'm just going to fold this until the streaks of whipped cream are more combined. All right, this looks combined to me. I'm going to pour it into my prepared Gingersnap crust here. Dollop this in. That looks good to me. So now just take my spatula, create some nice swoops. This is going into the freezer to chill for 4 hours and up to 1 day. Here she is out of the freezer, looking beautiful, but we have one last crowning touch because this is sweet talk, we have to be a little extra, sugared basil leaves. So I'm gonna take a couple leaves from my basil. See a couple pretty ones. I've already done a bunch ahead because they do take about an hour to dry, but I wanted to show you how this is done. I have a little bit of whisked egg white here, and I'm just going to brush this on and hold it over the tray and generously coat it with granulated sugar. Both sides. This kind of candies it and preserves it a little bit so they last a little longer. You just let that sit for an hour and up to a day until they're completely dry. They'll get a little bit harder. So once these are dried, they are really delicious and also very elegant and a very easy garnish for your pie. Finally ready to decorate, so I have some fresh sliced peaches. I'm going to arrange in the middle. I don't know if I need all of these, because I still want to see some of my pie around the edges. Pick the prettiest pieces, of course. Like that. So now I'll place my basil leaves. There's 24 here. I'm just going to use some of these on the pie, and then the rest of them will be garnished for individual slices. Just like that. Isn't that stunning? Make sure you get down to the bottom of the pie plate. I just heard it. That looks good. Oh, so delicious. That beautiful peach color. Looks nice and fluffy. I'm so excited to try this. I have to get a little bit of basil on there. So peachy. You have the spice of the ginger, a hint of basil. This is such a stunning dessert. I know you're gonna love this one. You have to try this at home. Enjoy. If you're enjoying this video, be sure to like, subscribe. We have so many great fun videos on the Everyday Food channel.